The plane's engines roared like a beast swallowing the sky. But it was Caleb's whisper that shattered me first. "I've been running from this my whole life. Don't make me stop now." His breath ghosted my ear, warm and whiskey-scented, as the cabin lights dimmed for takeoff. And in that suspended moment, I felt the world tilt. Not from turbulence, but from the raw hunger in his eyes locking onto mine. By the time we touched down in LA, I'd already fallen, hard and irrevocable, into the kind of love that doesn't ask permission. I never believed in love at first sight. Hell, I barely believed in love at all after Sarah left me 2 years back, packing her bags with a curt note about needing space to breathe, while I was buried in law school finals at Columbia. But there I was, crammed into seat 14B on a red-eye from JFK to LAX, nursing a double scotch I'd smuggled in a flask, staring out at the tarmac lights blurring into streaks of gold against the November chill. The flight attendant had just announced boarding complete when he slid into 14A, tall, broad-shouldered, with a duffel bag slung over one arm like it weighed nothing, even though it looked stuffed to bursting. Caleb. He said his name like it was a secret he wasn't sure he wanted to share, extending a calloused hand that swallowed mine whole. Rough palms, like he'd spent summers hauling lumber or fixing engines in some forgotten Midwest garage. His jaw was shadowed with stubble, a faint scar hooking from his earlobe down to his chin. Knife fight, bar brawl, or just bad luck? I didn't ask. Not yet. Instead, I mumbled something about the shitty legroom, and he chuckled, low and rumbling, settling in with knees bumping mine. We didn't talk much at first. The plane taxied, engines whining higher, and I buried myself in a dog-eared copy of The Great Gatsby, pretending the words weren't swimming. Turbulence hit over Ohio, the kind that makes your stomach drop like you're on a carnival ride gone wrong, and that's when he leaned closer. Not much, just enough to steady his coffee cup on the shared armrest, but his shoulder pressed against mine, solid and unapologetic. "You okay?" he murmured, voice cutting through the captain's drone about seatbelts. "Yeah," I lied, gripping the armrest until my knuckles ached. "Just hate flying." He nodded, like he got it, eyes flicking to my book. "Gatsby. Huh? Chasing green lights and all that jazz." "You were romantic." "Eli? How'd he know my name?" I'd flashed my boarding pass earlier, but the way he said it, Eli, soft on the L like a prayer, made my chest tighten. Nah. More like a cautionary tale. All that wanting, and for what? Caleb tilted his head, studying me with those piercing blue eyes, the color of Lake Michigan on a clear day. For the wanting, maybe. Keeps us alive. He shifted again, his knee lingering against mine, and I swear the air between us crackled. The flight attendant rolled by with pretzels, but neither of us moved. Outside, clouds swallowed the wing, and inside, something in me cracked open. By the time dinner trays clattered out, rubbery chicken or pasta that tasted like regret, we were deep into stories. He was from Detroit, ex-Marine turned freelance photographer, chasing gigs that paid in sunsets and solitude. "I shoot weddings mostly," he said with a wry grin, "but I'd rather capture the grit. Abandoned factories, kids tagging walls in the dead of night. The stuff that doesn't make it to Instagram." I told him about New York, the relentless grind of clerking at a firm in Midtown, defending corporate assholes who polluted rivers for profit. "Saves the soul." "Huh?" he teased, and I laughed. Real, from the gut for the first time in months. His laugh joined mine, infectious, And when his fingers brushed mine reaching for the same salt packet, neither pulled away. The cabin lights dimmed for the movie, some rom-com slush I'd ignore, and that's when it happened. Caleb leaned in, closer than before, his voice a hushed rumble over the seatback chatter. "Eli, I've been running from this my whole life. Don't make me stop now." His words hung there, heavy as the recycled air, and I turned, our faces inches apart, his breath mingling with mine. Whiskey and mint, desire and doubt. My heart hammered like it wanted out, and before I could think, I closed the gap. Our lips met, tentative at first, then fierce, his hand cupping my neck, pulling me into a kiss that tasted like freedom and fear all tangled up. We broke apart gasping as the beverage cart rattled past, but his thumb traced my jaw, eyes dark with promise. "Your place or mine when we land?" he whispered, and I nodded, lost already. The rest of the flight blurred, stolen glances, fingers interlaced under the blanket, whispers about dreams we'd buried. By dawn, as the Hollywood Hills smudged into view, I knew this was no layover fling. Caleb had cracked me open, and whatever came next, I was all in. LAX was a zoo, harried families, bleary-eyed businessmen, but we navigated it like co-conspirators, his duffel over one shoulder, my carry-on bumping his hip. He hailed a cab outside, the California sun already baking the asphalt, and gave the driver an address in Silver Lake, a converted warehouse loft with views of the Griffith Observatory. "My crash pad for the week," he said, sliding in beside me, thigh pressed to mine. "Shooting a spread for some indie mag." "You game?" The cab wove through traffic, palm trees whipping by like green fireworks, and I spilled about my solo trip. 10 days to clear my head after a brutal case. No agenda but beaches and bad decisions. "Perfect," he murmured, hand on my knee, squeezing. "We'll make some good ones." His place was everything he'd hinted. Exposed brick, mismatched furniture scavenged from estate sales, cameras and lenses scattered like forgotten toys. Sunlight poured through industrial windows, dusting the air with gold motes. He dropped his bag, kicked off boots scarred from too many hikes, and pulled me close. "Shower?" he asked, voice rough, and I followed him to the bathroom, steam rising as water hissed on. Under the spray, bodies slick and urgent, we explored each other like men starved. His scars told stories, shrapnel from Fallujah, he confessed later, mapping across his chest, down his abs taut from runs along the Detroit River. I traced them with lips and fingers, learning the give of muscle, the hitch in his breath when I knelt. He was gentle at first, reverent, then wild, pinning me to the tile with a growl that echoed off the walls. We emerged pruned and sated, wrapped in towels, collapsing onto his unmade bed with takeout Thai and a bottle of cheap Cabernet. That night, as crickets chirped outside and the city hummed below, we talked until words slurred into sleep. He spoke of his dad, a steelworker who drank himself dead after the mills shuttered, leaving Caleb to fend for a little brother who idolized him. "I joined the Corps to escape," he admitted, tracing circles on my chest. "But freedom's just another cage if you're alone." I shared my own ghosts. Mom's slow fade from cancer when I was 12, Dad's remarriage to a woman who treated me like an inconvenient roommate. "Law school's my armor," I said. "But it chafes." Caleb kissed my temple, arm heavy across my waist. "Then let's ditch the armor. For now." Days blurred into a haze of borrowed time. Mornings. Coffee on his fire escape. Legs tangled as we watch joggers snake through the hills. Afternoons, him at shoots, me tagging along, mesmerized by how he coaxed light from shadows, turning strangers into stories. One gig, a queer couple's engagement portraits in Echo Park, and Caleb's lens lingered on their hands intertwined, rings glinting. Like us, he murmured later, over gelato that dripped down my wrist, which he licked clean with a wink. Evenings were ours, hikes up Runyon Canyon at sunset, sweat slick and breathless, collapsing into picnics of In-N-Out burgers and stolen beers. One night, under a sky bruised purple, he pulled a battered Polaroid from his pack. Me, laughing mid-bite, wind-tousled. "Proof," he said, tucking it into my shirt pocket. "That this is real, felt real. God did it." But cracks spiderwebbed in, subtle at first. His phone buzzed incessantly. Texts he silenced with a grimace, claiming old squad buddies. I catch him staring at the horizon, jaw tight, like Detroit's pull was a tether he couldn't snap. And me, back east waited depositions, deadlines, a life I'd built brick by soul-crushing brick. But with Caleb, I glimpsed something else. Messy, alive, unscripted. On day 5, we drove his rental Jeep up the coast to Malibu. Windows down, Springsteen blasting Born to Run. Salt air whipped our hair. And at a secluded cove, we stripped to nothing, diving into waves that crashed cold and forgiving. Floating there, his body buoyant against mine, he whispered, "What if we didn't go back? You and me, road tripping the whole damn country." My heart soared, then sank. And do what? Live on memories and motel rooms. He treaded water, ice fierce. Live, Eli. Really live. That night, back in Silver Lake, we made love slow and deliberate, bodies sinking like we'd always known the rhythm. Afterward, tangled in sheets scented with salt and him, I almost said it, "I love you." But the words stuck, fragile as sea glass. The next morning, my alarm shattered the illusion. Flight home in 12 hours. Caleb made eggs, sunny side up, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. "Stay," he said simply, plating food I couldn't eat. "I can't." "Not yet." He nodded, too quick. "Then let's make today count." We did brunch at a drag queen's pop-up, laughing till our sides ached. A tattoo parlor where he dared me to ink a compass rose on my ribcage. "For finding your way back." I did it, needle buzzing like fate, his hand steady in mine. But as dusk fell, painting the loft in amber, his phone lit up again. This time, he answered, voice low in the kitchen while I pretended to pack. "Yeah, it's done." "No, I handled it." "Tell him I'll wire the rest tomorrow." He hung up, face ashen, and when he turned, the lie in his eyes gutted me. "Who was that?" I asked, zipper halfway on my bag. "Nothing." "Business." The air thickened, our easy rhythm fracturing. Dinner was takeout sushi, eaten in silence broken only by clinking chopsticks. Finally, I pushed, "Caleb, talk to me." He set his bowl down, running hands through his hair. "It's my brother." "Okay. Tommy's in deep debts to the wrong people back home. I came out here to scrape together cash for a fix. That's all." Relief flooded me, mixed with ache. "Why didn't you say I could help?" "No." Sharp, final. "This is my mess. We argued then, quiet at first, voices rising like storm clouds. I'm not some damsel, Eli. I don't need saving. But you don't have to do it alone. His laugh was bitter. Alone's all I've known. Core taught me that. Love, that's for fairy tales. The word hung love like a gauntlet. I grabbed his arm. This isn't a tale. This is us. He pulled away, eyes stormy. Us? We met 4 days ago on a goddamn plane. What if it's just the altitude talking? The stung, vicious and true. I stormed to the bedroom, slamming the door, heart pounding. Minutes ticked by, then a soft knock. Eli. I'm scared. Okay. Of this. Of you making me want more. I opened the door, found him leaning against the frame, vulnerable in a way that twisted my gut. We collided, fists unclenching into embraces, apologies murmured against skin. That night, we clung like survivors, making promises in the dark, calls every day, visits soon, a future sketched in whispers. Dawn came too soon. At the airport, curbside drop-off, he kissed me deep, tasting of goodbye. Text me when you land, he said, voice cracking. I will. And Caleb? I love. Don't. He pressed a finger to my lips. Say it when you're back. When it's real. The cab pulled away, his silhouette shrinking in the rear view, and I boarded with a hollow chest, already counting hours till reunion. But as wheels left tarmac, my phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Tell Caleb the job's off. Tommy's gone. Don't trust him. The world inverted. Who was this? And what the hell had I just fallen for? The flight back dragged like a confession I wasn't ready to make. Every bump over the Rockies jolted me, but nothing hit like that text, glowing accusatory on my screen. Don't trust him. No signature, just a 313 area code, Detroit. I typed back furiously. Who is this? What job? But the plane's Wi-Fi flickered out, leaving me stewing in recycled dread, replaying Caleb's whispers, his scars, the way he'd arched under me like I was salvation. LAX to JFK felt eternal, layover in Denver stretching my nerves thin. I paced the terminal, chugging coffee that tasted like battery acid, firing off messages that bounced undelivered. By the time I collapsed into my Brooklyn walk-up, subway rattle fading, keys jangling like chains, the sun was setting over the East River, painting my shoebox apartment in bloody hues. I dumped my bag, phone clutched like a lifeline, and called him. Straight to voicemail. Hey, it's Caleb. Leave a message, or don't. Your call. Caleb, it's Eli. Call me back. Now. Click. I paced the creaky hardwood, past posters of Dylan and Kerouac peeling at the edges, the ghosts of ambitions I'd shelved for billable hours. Sleep evaded me. Toss turned sweat, dreams of planes crashing into oceans of blue eyes. Morning brought clarity's cruel edge. Work. The firm loomed in Midtown, glass tower sucking souls for 6 figures. My boss, Harlan, silver fox with a predatory grin, slapped a file on my desk. Riverfront pollution case. Nail these bastards. Eli. Partnerships sniffing your way. I nodded through the haze, drafting motions that blurred into nonsense. Lunch was a sad salad at my desk. Stolen glances at my phone. Nothing. By afternoon, desperation clawed, I texted the unknown. Please. Explain. Hours later, a reply, Ask him about the photography gig in LA. Tommy's not in debt. He's dead. Because of Caleb. The words hit like a sucker punch. Dead? I Googled frantically Tommy Whitaker, 24. Obituary from 2 weeks back. Sudden accident. Survived by brother Caleb. Car wreck, they said. But the pieces didn't fit. Caleb's tension. The calls. The business. My stomach roiled. I bolted to the bathroom, heaving up that untouched salad. That night, I hit the bottle jack straight from the bottle, slumped on my fire escape overlooking traffic-snarled streets. Brooklyn buzzed below, cabs honking, lovers quarreling in the rain-slicked alley. I dialed again, voicemail my confessor. Caleb, if you're listening. What the fuck? Tommy? The job? Talk to me. Man. Please. Silence stretched days. Work blurred. Depositions where I grilled execs on toxic spills, channeling rage into cross-exams that left them sweating. Harlan clapped my back. Attaboy. Eli. Fire in the belly. If only he knew it was heartbreak's blaze. On day 3, my phone lit up. Caleb. Heart slamming. I answered. Eli, where are you? Static crackled, like he was moving. Back in Detroit. Gig wrapped early. Listen. Tommy's dead. Flat. Testing. A beat. Yeah. He is. The text. Who sent it? My ex. Marcus. Nosy fucker. Still has my number. He knew about Tommy. Thought he was doing me a solid. Warning you off. Warning me off? From what? Caleb? What's the job? Exhale. Ragged. It's complicated. Tommy. He got mixed up with bad guys. Not debts, protection racket shit. I went to LA. To fence some gear. Make quick cash to buy him out. But it went south. The wreck. It was them. Retaliation. Ice flooded my veins. Gear? As in stolen. Photos. Mostly. High-end shit from shoots. Harmless flip. Harmless? You could have said. I know. Snap. Then soft. I didn't want you seeing that side. The broken parts. You deserve better. Eli. Clean slate. Not my wreckage. Tears pricked. Hot and unwelcome. Bullshit. I fell for all of you. The wreckage included. Pause. Heavy. Fell. Huh? Past tense. No. God. No. When are you coming back? I'm not. Can't. They're watching. Safer this way. The line went dead. Dropped or hung up. I redialed. Voicemail. Panic clawed. I booked a ticket to Detroit that night. Economy purgatory be damned. Motor City greeted me with gray skies and factory ghosts. The air thick with rust and regret. Rental Chevy idled outside Caleb's address. A sagging duplex in Hamtramck. Polish flags faded on porches. He answered the door in a threadbare tee. Eyes hollowed. Stubble creeping toward beard. Eli? What the? I pushed past. Into a living room cluttered with takeout boxes and unopened mail. You don't get to ghost me. Not after. He grabbed my arms. Gentle but firm. You shouldn't be here. It's not safe. Then explain. All of it. We sank onto a couch that smelled of smoke and sorrow. Caleb lit a cigarette, Marlboro Red, filter chewed and spilled. Tommy, wild-eyed kid chasing street cred, pulled into a crew shaking down corner stores. Caleb, post-discharge, tried pulling him out, fought, pleaded, failed. The gig in LA? Fencing pilfered cameras from a mobbed-up collector, cash to settle Tommy's marker. But word leaked. Brakes tampered on Tommy's beater Civic, careening into a guardrail at 80. I found him, Caleb whispered, ash trembling on the cig. Twisted metal, rain sheeting down. He looked peaceful, like he'd finally stopped running. I pulled him close, his body shuddering against mine. I'm sorry. Christ, I'm so sorry. We stayed like that, hours bleeding into night. My flight be damned. When sobs ebbed, he kissed me, desperate, tasting of salt and nicotine. Bedroom down the hall, twin mattress on the floor, walls papered in faded band posters. We stripped slow, reverent, mapping grief with hands and mouths. He was rougher this time, nails digging crescents into my hips, but I met him thrust for thrust, whispering his name like absolution. Dawn filtered through grimy blinds, finding us entwined. Stay, he murmured, fingers tracing my tattoo, the compass, raw and red. I will. We'll figure it. Knock at the door. Sharp, insistent. Caleb bolted up, yanking on jeans. Shit. Stay here. I huddled under sheets as voices murmured low, gravelly, accented. Then Caleb's, I paid up. We're square. Not quite. Laughter. Ugly. Interest. And your pretty boys in town, word travels. My blood iced. They knew? Caleb returned, face thunderous, grabbing keys. Pack. We're out. We fled in the Chevy, his duffel tossed in back, my heart in throat. Freeway blurred mile markers to Ann Arbor, then beyond. Canada, I suggested, half joking. He gripped the wheel white-knuckled. Mexico, maybe. Or just drive till the tank dies. Laughter bubbled, manic, as we crossed into Ohio. Pit stop at a diner, greasy spoons and pie that stuck to ribs. Over coffee, plans hatched. My savings for gas. His contacts for under-the-radar gigs. Portland, he said. Rainy. Anonymous. We start over. It sounded like salvation. That night, motel off I-80 neon buzzing vacancy. Bed sagging under our weight. Lovemaking turned playful. Him tickling ribs till I begged mercy. Then slow. Eyes locked. Building to a crescendo that left us gasping. Spent. But morning brought reality's bite. My phone, charger plugged in, exploding with voicemails. Harlan. Eli? Where the hell? Clients furious. Then Sarah, ex-fiancée, heard you're AWOL. Need to talk. Urgent. I deleted them, but doubt seeded. Caleb watched. Quiet. Go back if you have to. No. Defiant. This is us now. We pushed west. Prairies unfolding like blank pages. Stops. Roadside fairs in Indiana. Ferris wheels creaking under harvest moons. Cornfields in Iowa. Fireflies winking like conspirators. Caleb shot Polaroids, me with cotton candy beard. Him mid-laugh against rusted silos. Our story, he'd say, pinning them to the visor. Nights blurred intimate. Whispers of futures. Scars shared like secrets. He confessed the scar on his jaw. Bar fight defending a queer kid from Bashers. Post-military haze. Came out at 19. Dad called me abomination. Joined up to prove I was man enough. I held him tighter. You are. To me. By Nebraska. Freedom tasted sweet, wind-whipped, endless. But in a Cheyenne truck stop, over bison burgers, my phone rang, unknown. I answered, voice steady. Eli Whitaker. Pause. Then a woman's voice. Crisp. Mr. Whitaker. This is Detective Reyes, NYPD. We need to speak about Caleb Harlan. Harlan, my boss's name. Coincidence? What about him? He's wanted for questioning. Embezzlement from your firm. And there's a connection to a death in Detroit. Tommy's accident? Not so accidental. The diner spun. Caleb, across the booth, froze mid-bite. Eli, I hung up, face draining. Caleb. Harlan, your last name. Harlan. He swallowed hard. Like your boss. The pieces slammed. The LA. Calls. The gear. Firm documents? Harlan had gloated about my riverfront case. The pollution cover-up. Had Caleb? No, he said, reading my eyes. Eli. Listen. But I was already standing. Keys snatched. Drive. Now. The Chevy tore west. Silence thicker than dust devils. Talk. I demanded. Knuckles white on dash. He exhaled. Broken. Tommy found out about Harlan, your Harlan. The firm's dirty, burying toxins that killed locals. Tommy was investigating, freelance, for some activist rag. Got too close. Harlan had him silenced, the wreck. And you? Fencing what? Evidence. Caleb's jaw clenched. Files from the LA. Shoot. I posed as Fadig for a gala. Swipe docs proving payoffs. Was gonna leak them. Get Tommy out. But Harlan's your uncle. Distant. Black sheep who bailed after Dad died. Came sniffing when Tommy dug deep. Betrayal layered. Family. Lies. The man I'd loved now entangled in my world's rot. Why me? The flight? Planned. Hell no. Vehement. You were chance. Best damn thing. But when you talked work, I saw a way in. Then it became real. You became real. Tears blurred taillights. And now? Fugitives? He reached for my hand. Partners. In crime. In this. I let him take it. Pulse racing. Wyoming Badlands loomed. Jagged teeth under star-pricked sky. That night. Cheap motel again. Thunder Basin in. Thunder rumbling distant. We argued fierce. Fists balled. Voices cracking. Then surrendered. Bodies colliding in fury-tinged passion. I love you, I gasped. First time spoken. As he shattered inside me. Love you too, he groaned. Holding on like anchor. But dawn brought choppers whirring overhead, news helicopters? Or hunters. We fled south. Into Utah's Red Rock canyons. Radio crackling alerts. Fugitives in custody sought. Embezzlement. Vehicular homicide. Homicide. Harlan's spin. Caleb's face on grainy feed. Wanted. Caleb Harlan. Alias Whitaker. Alias. The lie deepened. Utah's deserts swallowed us whole. Red spires clawing at a sky too vast for hiding. The Chevy's AC wheezed. Spewing hot breath as we snaked Highway 89. Arches National Park a blur of arches and accusations. Caleb drove. Jaw set like granite. Radio off to silence the manhunt choruses. My phone? Smashed at a gas station in Rock Springs. shards glittering like broken trust under sodium lights. No traces, he'd said, voice flat. But traces lingered, in my veins, his touch, the phantom buzz of notifications I'd never answer. We holed up in Moab, a fleabag motel called Desert Rose. Ironic, given the thorns digging deeper. Owner was a grizzled vet with a lazy eye, taking cash without questions, his welcome laced with squint. Room 7, peeling wallpaper, bed that dipped like a hammock, window framing hoodoos that mocked our fragility. Caleb bolted the door, drew curtains, and collapsed against me, kiss bruising. We're okay, he lied, hands roaming urgent, stripping denim and doubts. Sex was our sacrament, fierce, reclaiming, his body a map I navigated blind. He took me against the wall, legs wrapped, moans muffled in my neck, then slow on the bed, eyes locked, building waves till we crested together, slick and spent. Partners, he whispered after, tracing the compass tattoo now faded to memory. But partners in what? Love? Crime? Catastrophe? Morning brought strategy over stale donuts from the lobby. We hit Denver, he said, mapping on a napkin. Contact there, old core buddy, off-grid. Can get us new plates. Maybe a drop. I nodded, but unease gnawed. Harlan, my Harlan, loomed spectral. That gala in L.A.? I'd skimmed invites in the office. Firm schmoozed celebs for greenwashing. Caleb's shoot was cover. And Tommy? The kid's face haunted me. Googled obit photo, tousled hair, grin wide as Lake St. Claire. Activist? Or pawn? We rolled out at noon, dust plume trailing like guilt. Canyonlands unfolded, plateaus dropping sheer, rivers carving secrets. Caleb cranked the window, wind scouring silence. Ask, he finally said. Everything, voice steady, barely. Harlan. Your uncle. How deep? He gripped tighter. Met him once. Kid. Dad's funeral. Promised help. Vanished. Then Tommy's probe emails. Leaks. Harlan's firm dumps chromium into the Rouge River. Cancer clusters. Eli. Kids like Tommy. Dying slow. My cases, riverfront defenses, flash damming. I'd argued for them, unknowingly shielding poison. And the files? You stole. Photocopies. Proof. Tommy was gonna blow it wide, Guardian expose. But Harlan's crew tailed him. Brakes cut clean. Proof. Bitter laugh. Or your word. He shot me a look. Wounded. Check the duffel. Envelope. Heart thudding. I unzipped. Leather pouch. Yellow docs. Memos initialed HH. Lab reports redacted black. Photos too. Harlan shaking hands with suits at a yacht club. Tommy's blurry tail in corner. This. It's ironclad. Was. Caleb's voice cracked. Hid originals in L.A. Locker. If we get M. Denver shimmered mirage-like. Rocky's Sentinel. We ditched the Chevy in a scrapyard off I-70. Cash to a tattooed kid with meth-itch fingers. Swapping for a battered Ford F-150. Plates swapped crooked. Buddy Jacks. Buzz cut. Prosthetic leg from the same sandbox as Caleb. Oh, you. Brother. Caleb clapped his back. Over beers in a dive called the Foxhole. Jack eyed me curious. Boyfriend. More, Caleb said. Arm slung possessive. Soulmate shit. Blush heated. Jax chuckled. Sliding keys. Watch your six. Feds crawling Harlan's ass. IRS audit turned hot. Feds? My gut twisted. Harlan's slaps on back now sinister. We camped outside Boulder that night. Tent pitched in braintan foothills. Stars pricking like accusations. Fire crackled low. Marshmallows charred on sticks. Caleb fed me one. Gooey sweet. Remember Malibu? Waves crashing. Us invincible. Yeah. Soft. Before the fall, he pulled me into his lap. Fireglow dancing on scars. Not fallen. Flying scared. Kiss deepened. Hands wandering under flannel, exploring. Affirming. We made love on sleeping bags. Earth cool beneath. His weight grounding as he moved inside. Gasps mingling with coyote howls. After, curled close, he murmured dreams. Cabin in Cascades. Garden plot. Cameras capturing quiet. You, lawyering for the little guy. Me, shooting truths. Sounds human. I whispered. Human, flawed. Fighting. Alive. But dawn dragged hunters. Radio in the truck spat. Breaking. New York attorney Harlan convicted. Embezzlement ring tied to eco-crimes. Accomplice at large. Caleb Harlan. 32. My name mercifully absent, yet. Drop me in Portland. I said suddenly. Throat tight. Anonymize. You chase the locker. Expose. Rebuild. Caleb slammed brakes. Truck skidding gravel shoulder. No. We. Go together. Plea. But if caught. I testify clean. Leverage. I stormy. He yanked me across console. Kiss feral. Deal. But you're mine. Eli. Endgame. We pushed northwest. 84 threading Columbia Gorge. Waterfalls veiling verdant cliffs. Mist like mercy. Stops. Roadside orchards in Hood River. Apples crisp and tart. Hikes where we fucked against boulders. Adrenaline sharp. LA. Locker loomed. Greyhound bus to throw tails. Then rental Prius anonymous. City of Angels swallowed us again. Smog choked. Seductive. Locker in Echo Park. Key taped under mat as planned. Inside, metal box. Files pristine. USB drive labeled River of Lies. Caleb pocketed it. Grin wolfish. Jackpot. Celebration, his old loft. Ghosts banished with wine and weed. We danced slow to Coltrane on vinyl. Bodies sinking. Then tumbled to bed. Laughter turning moans. Him riding me lazy. Eyes never leaving mine. Love you, he breathed. Climax shuddering through. But elation soured at midnight knock. Open up. LAPD. Panic. Caleb shoved the box under floorboard, yanking me to bathroom. Flush the drive, swallow if you. No. But door splintered. Tack vests flooding. Caleb Harlan. Hands. Chaos. Zip ties biting wrists. Me shoved face down. Knee and back. Eli Whitaker, you're coming too. Witness tampering. Tampering? Harlan's venom. In squad car. Cuffs cold. I met Caleb's gaze across divider. Fear. Fury. Flicker of fight. I'm sorry, he mouthed. Station house. Fluorescent hell. Coffee like tar. Interrogation room. Me. With a Fed named Kowalski. Bulldog jowls. Your boyfriend's uncle framed you both. Harlan spilling. Says you two plotted the theft. Tommy's hit to silence. Lies. Veins iced. I was collateral. Flew in blind. Kowalski leaned in. Breath sour. Prove it. Testify against Harlan. Full immunity. Temptation coiled. Freedom. Career salvaged. But Caleb? Door to him. Lawyered up pro bono. Face bruised from resisting. I glimpsed through glass. Defiant. Unbroken. Choice crystallized. Truth over safety. I spilled. Flight serendipity. Love's tangle. Files justice. Kowalski nodded slow. Brave. Stupid. But brave. Bail hearing dawn. Harlan remanded. Smirking till cuffs clicked. Caleb released on my recognizance. Condition. No contact. Monitoring. Outside. Rain sheeting. He crushed me in hug. You chose us. Chose you. Kiss stolen. Desperate. But separation clawed me back east. Him in witness protection limbo. Portland bound under alias. Weeks. Emails coded through burners. Voicemails husky with longing. Miss your laugh, he'd say. Dreaming your hands. Court dates loomed. Trial of the century. Eco-fraud splash tabloids. I prepped as star witness. Depositions dredging Harlan's slime. Rivers poisoned. Lives eroded. Protesters outside. Justice for the Rouge. Tommy's face on signs. Haunting. Climax brewed in federal courthouse. Foley Square, November chill biting. Leaves skittering like fleeing secrets. Day 1. Opening arguments. DA painting Harlan as kingpin. Me as reluctant knight. Day 2. My turn on stand. Both heavy as anchor. I met Caleb on a flight. I began. Voice steady. He saved me from cynicism. From myself. Objections flew relevance. But judge allowed. Jury leaning in. I detailed the kiss. The road. The betrayal's sting. Love doesn't blind. It illuminates. Gasps rippled as files projected. Memos damning. Harlan's signature serpentine. Cross-exam, his lawyer. Slick as oil. Mr. Whitaker. Isn't this lover's revenge? Queer drama for headlines. Rage flared. It's justice. For Tommy. For all of us human enough to care. Gavel banged recess. In hall. Burner buzzed Caleb. Proud. So damn proud. But night fell treacherous. Hotel room. Alone. Shadows whispered doubt. Harlan's reach. A call. Anonymous. Oily. Drop it, kid. Or your flyboy joins Tommy. Threat landed visceral. I alerted Kowalski. Taps. Tails, but sleep fled. Ghosts circling. The trial devolved into a circus. Reporters swarming like locusts. Headlines screaming, lovers leak. Gay couple topples tycoon? Pundits dissected us on cable. Romantic heroism or opportunistic affair? My face plastered beside Caleb's. Mugshots romanticized into movie stills. Harlan's team spun vicious. Leaked psych evals from my college days. Painting me unstable. Promiscuous plaintiff. Anonymous blogs whispered slurs. Fudgepacker's folly. I armored up. Suits crisp. Testimony polished. Day 3. Expert witnesses. Toxicologists graphing cancer spikes along the Rouge. Kids with leukemia. Moms miscarrying mercury dreams. Juries wept. Harlan fidgeted. Ty askew. Then his turn. Stand trembling under lights. Voice oiled. Family betrayal, he crooned. My nephew, radicalized by activists, seduced this associate to steal secrets. A homosexual honey trap. Objection sustained, but poison seeped. Jury foreman, a burly plumber from Queens, Me skeptical. Post-recess. In green room. Burner vibrated. Caleb. Don't let him twist us. You're the truth. Truth. I clung to it on redirect. Voice cracking raw. Harlan didn't just poison rivers. He poisoned trust, families, futures. Caleb risked everything to expose it. Because love, it's the most human thing we do. Applause erupted, spontaneous, electric, from gallery packed with activists. Tommy's mom front row. Tears carving canyons in lined face. She nodded at me, fierce. But undercurrents roiled. That night, tailing shadows. Black SUV idling curbside. Plates muddied. Kowalski's detail waved it off. Paranoid. Kid. But sleep jagged with nightmares. Caleb's car crumpling. My hands slick with phantom blood. Week 2 climaxed Friday. Closing arguments. Courtroom air thick as fog. DA thundered justice, slides of polluted banks. Tommy's smile fading to skid marks. Harlan's counsel pleaded reasonable doubt. A lover's quarrel gone corporate. Then me. Rebuttal unscripted. Doubt? Look at the files. The families. We're not quarreling, we're human. Fighting for what's right. Caleb taught me that. On a plane. Of all places. Gavel fell. Jury retired. Verdict watch. Agonizing limbo. City holding breath. I hold in a safe house upstate Hudson Valley cabin. Leaves flaming autumn pyre. Burner calls to Caleb. Voice staticky from his Portland bolt hole. Alias Eli Grant. Barista gig at a queer coffeehouse. Miss you, he'd murmur. Brewing lattes. Thinking your mouth. Laughter through tears. Soon. Promise. But Saturday dawn shattered. Kowalski pounding door. Juries hung. One holdout, Harlan donor. Mistrial likely. Gut punched. Retrial. Worse. Harlan's walking on technicals. And whispers, hit on you too. Hit. Word chilled. We mobilized. Caleb smuggled east via circuitous Greyhound. Meeting at a Catskills diner. Maple syrup sticky. Booth's vinyl cracked. He slid in opposite. Hoodie shadowing eyes. But grin lit when he saw me. Hey, stranger. Our hands linked under table. Pulse sync. Plan B, I said. Sliding napkin map. Leak the files ourselves. Indie outlet, ProPublica hook. Go public before Harlan spins. Risky, contempt charges. But eyes met. Resolve steel. Together, we drove south. F-150 resurrected. Winding Taconic Parkway, hills rolling gold. Air crisp with wood smoke. Stops. Farm stands. Cider tart. Pullouts where we necked like teens. Hands frantic under hoodies. God. Eli, he'd grown. Grinding against me on a quilt spread in truck bed. Stars wheeling overhead. Climax quick. Messy. Perfect. Reaffirmation in release. NYC loomed Monday. Chaos of horns. Steam rising from grates. We crashed at my walk-up. Sublet cleared. Neighbors nosy but silent. Night. Takeout falafel. Files scanned to encrypted drive. Email draft to editor contact. Exclusive, corporate poison. From the inside. Attached proofs. Narrative woven. Flight hook to fugitive flight. Love as catalyst. Send button loomed. Caleb hovered. Breath held. Now or never. Click. Catharsis flooded. Weight lifted. Even if chains clanked. But dawn brought backlash. Door kick. Feds swarming. Warrant. Obstruction. Kowalski. Apologetic. Harlan's mole in DA's office. Traced the IP. Cuffs again. Colder this time. Holding cell. Me and Caleb. Adjacent cages like some bad western. Worth it? He asked through bars. Fingers laced. Every word. Kiss through steel. Illicit. Arraignment. Judge. Stern but fair. At the leak already viral. Headlines howling, whistleblowers cuffed. Protests swelled Foley Square. Rain-soaked crowds chanting "Free the lovers." Justice for Rivers. Tommy's mom testified character. They honored my boy. Heroes. Bail. Exorbitant. But crowd-funded overnight queer networks. Enviro allies. We walked free. Hands clasped on courthouse steps. Flashes blinding. No comment. Caleb bellowed. Arm around me. Jeep idling escape. But freedom fragile. Harlan countersued. Defamation. Millions claimed. Safe House Redux. Queens brownstone. Donated by activist Auntie. Days blurred tense. Depositions dodged. Lawyers circling. Nights hours. Cooking pasta al dente. Slow dances to Nina Simone. Bodies merging tender. Marry me. He whispered one storm-lashed eve. Ring scavenged from pawnshop. Silver band etched with compass points. Tears, yes. 1,000 times. Ceremony impromptu. Backyard. Rainbow flag fluttering. Friends toasting with PBR. Vows raw. In chaos and calm. I choose you. Honeymoon. Deferred. Retrial loomed spring. Harlan's empire crumbling under audits. But venom lingered. April bloomed cruel. Anonymous tip. Harlan fleeing jurisdiction. Private jet to Caymans. We mobilized. Tip to feds. Coordinates from mole hunt. Stakeout. Teterboro Airport. Chain link rattling wind. Night fell velvet. We waited in rental sedan. Hands clasped. If this ends him, Caleb trailed. Ends us starting. Kiss ceiling. Jet taxied. Harlan's silhouette. Flanked goons. Feds swarmed. Takedown cinematic shouts. Zip ties. Harlan's snarl, you'll pay. Nephew. Bust. Headlines exalted. Lover's last stand. Tycoon nabbed. But victory Pyrrhic. That night. Loft reclaimed. Silver Lake sublet. Ironic homecoming. We celebrated. Rooftop. City sprawling. Champagne fizzing. To questioning everything, I toasted. And finding answers, he clinked, pulling me close. Love-making under stars. Unhurried. Profound, him entering slow. Our rhythm's Earth's pulse. Whispers peaked. Forever. Yet dawn whispered omens. Burner buzz Kowalski. Harlan's talking plea. Names you both in accessory. Tommy's hit. Accessory. The blade twisted. Caleb's face drained. He set it up. To drag us down. Evidence? Slim. Harlan's word. Greased. Panic clawed. Lawyers scrambled appeals. Climax fractured us. Emergency hearing. Judge's gavel sealing warrants anew. Flight risk. Intoned. As marshals closed in. Caleb bolted, instinct. Core-honed, yanking me toward alley. Run. But I froze, love's paralysis. No. Face it. Together. He halted. Torn. Sirens wailed. Choice crystallized. Go, I urged. Leak more. Fight from shadows. I'll hold the line. Tears. Kiss fierce. Then he vanished into night, ghost in graffiti alleys. Alone, cuffed gentle, I rode to Riker's gray walls swallowing. Cell bunk cold, regrets warmer. Letters smuggled. His scrawl, wait for me. Portland cabin dreams. Months ground, trial redux. Harlan crumbling under cross, his lies fracturing. Jury unconvinced. Quittal. Cheers erupted. Me freed to empty arms. But Caleb? Vanished. Portland trails cold. Alias's dead ends. Years blurred me. Pro bono crusader. Suing polluters in his name. Books written. Turbulent hearts. Bestseller blurring our tale. One rainy November, 5 years on, I boarded LAX red eye. Seat 14B empty. But whisper beside, mind if I? Caleb. Older. Silver threading temples. I still blew fire. Running anymore? He slid in, hand finding mine. Only to you. Kiss mid-flight. Cabin lights dimming full circle. Questions answered in quiet. The reunion wasn't fireworks and fanfare. It was the quiet click of puzzle pieces slotting after years of jagged edges. Caleb's hand in mine felt both foreign and achingly familiar. Calluses rougher, grip surer, like time had tempered him into something unbreakable. The flight attendant cooed over our adorable clasped fingers, oblivious to the odyssey etched in our lines. As the plane banked west, Hollywood lights winking below, he leaned in, same whiskey ghost on breath, and murmured, "Missed this. Missed you." LAX baggage claim. Duffels claimed. Cab hailed to that Silver Lake loft. Now his full-time airy, cameras evolved to digital empires. Gigs for Nat Geo on endangered wetlands. Full circle, he said. Unlocking. City hum filtering through blinds. Inside, warmer now. Bookshelves groaning with Kerouac and Carson. A king bed mocking our old twin. We didn't make it there. Kitchen counter sufficed. Clothes shedding like old skins. His mouth mapping scars I'd forgotten. Appendix burst junior year. Bullet graze from a protest scuffle post-Harlan. He took his time. Reverent kneeling. Lips tracing thighs. Drawing gasps that echoed off brick. Beautiful, he breathed, before pulling me deep, tongue skilled as memory. I shattered quick. Fingers knotted in his hair. Then flipped him gentle, returning favor till he arched, cursing soft. Bed followed, slow entry, faces inches, breath sinking. Home, I whispered as we crested, tears mingling sweat. Mornings after, coffee black, porch swings creaking, plans unfolding unhurried. He showed prints, salmon runs in poison streams, activists chaining dredgers, Tommy's spirit in every frame. Your case is inspired, he said. We're the ripple, we'd tsunami change. Harlan's plea life. No parole, catalyzed Clean Water Act amendments. Funds for Rouge remediation. My firm, dissolved in scandal. Reborn boutique defending the defenseless. Caleb's exposés. Pulitzer nod. Queer icon status. But scars lingered. Humanistic etchings. Nightmares his. Of Fallujah flashes. Mine. Of empty cells. Therapy tandem. Queer counselor in WeHo. Circles drawn on trust falls. Love's not linear, she'd say. It's the bends we navigated. His wanderlust clashing my rootedness, compromises in cross-country RVs, shoots where I'd brief locals on rights. Fights flared, petty, profound. You glorify the grit, but it's killing you, I'd snap at a risky embed in flint pipes. And you litigate from ivory towers, he'd retort, before apologies dissolved in bed. Bodies bridging words. Anniversary 1. Vegas whim, chapel kitsch, Elvis officiant, rings upgraded simple gold. Vows renewed. Through betrayals and boardrooms, I question with you. Reception. Diner booth. Pancakes drowning syrup. Toasts via FaceTime to Brooklyn crew. Life layered. Dog adopted. Mutt named Gatsby. Chasing green lights in Echo Park. Garden plot. Tomatoes bursting summer. Caleb's hands dirt black. Mine pruning tentative. Community wove us LGBT Center fundraisers. His photos auctioned for youth shelters. My talks on love as litigation. Crowds nodding teary. Yet humanity's core, vulnerability's grace. Year 2, his diagnosis PTSD flare. Triggered by anniversary news of another river spill. Panic attacks gripped. Nights pacing rain-lashed roofs. I held him through. Whispers steady. Breathe with me. Here. Meds adjusted. Hikes therapeutic. Malibu Cove revisited. Waves absolving. My bend, burnout. Cases piling like indictments. Step back, he urged. Over tea in dawn light. Sabbatical. Road trip redux. Route 66 reversed. Chicago jazz dives. Detroit homecoming. Tommy's grave. Wildflowers laid. Stories shared with maudlin locals. He'd like you, Caleb said. Arm heavy. Troublemaker kin. Back west. Clarity bloomed. Clinic founded, queer justice legal. Pro bono for marginalized. Caleb documented. Portraits of persistence. Exhibit touring coasts. Climax revisited. Not drama, but depth, fertility talk. Post-row ripples. Surrogacy dreams danced. Kid with his eyes. My fight. Human legacy, we toasted. But paths diverged gentle. Adoption prioritized. Fostering first. Little Jamie arrived. Foster placement. 6. Eyes wide as canyons. Scars from system churn. Daddies? He lisped. And we melted. Teaching compass points on fridge maps. Parenting humanized raw. Tantrums testing. Triumphs transcendent. Caleb's lens captured Jamie's first steps in Griffith dirt. My briefs now included his crayon scrawls. Fights evolved. You spoil him. To laughter over spilled Cheerios. Betrayals echo faded. But lessons etched. Trust rebuilt daily. In small graces. Morning kisses. Bedtime tales of plain seat fate. Once upon a turbulence. I'd begin. Jamie giggling. Tragedy threaded light. Harlan's death. Prison cancer. Unrepentant to end. No gloating. Just quiet burn of files. Ensuring ripples reached. Caleb's ma visited frail. Forgiving. You saved us. Boys. Embrace tear-stung. Years stacked. Jamie's school plays. Caleb stage managing chaos. My TED Talk on love's legal latitude. Viral nod to our hook. Portland cabin. Weekend refuge. Cascades whispering peace. 1 November red eye. JFK to LAX. Jamie Tweentall beside. Seatmate leaned. Silver-haired gent. Twinkling. Reminds me of my story, he said, nodding our hands. Caleb across aisle. Winking. Life's loop. Questioning eternal. Answers in leans closer. We landed. Family intact. Love's drama softened to enduring romance. Human. Flawed. American as apple pie and protest marches. In the end, It wasn't the flight or fall that defined us, but the rising together, always questioning, forever found.